Oil prices reverses losses following a confirmation of a meeting between big oil producers in March. Ivory Coast rubber industry hit by a sharp drop in prices and falling demand forces farmers to switch to other crops and potentially preventing the country from reaching its goal of doubling output by 2020. We would also look at the recent report by Exotics Partners London on China-Africa trade and investment. Good afternoon and welcome to Business Incorporated. Thank you for joining us. I'm Chimizi Obi. You're welcome. Oil prices have reversed losses following a confirmation of a meeting between big oil producers in March. Venezuelan officials confirmed that Russia, Saudi Arabia and Qatar have agreed to meet next month. Oil prices have tumbled 7% since mid-2014, owing to an excess of supply and sluggish demand. Earlier this month, Saudi Arabia and Russia agreed to freeze oil output at January levels, but there is skepticism over what they can achieve. Saudi Arabia has been maintaining its level of oil production despite falling prices in a move designed to force higher-cost producers out of the market. In early trade, North Sea Brent crude was trading at $35.55 a barrel, up $1.14. Apple Incorporated on Thursday doubled down on its resistance to the U.S. government's attempt to force it to unlock an encrypted iPhone belonging to one of the San Bernardino shooters, arguing for the dismissal of a court order compelling it to act on the grounds that it would violate its free speech rights and blur the lines between courts and Congress. The U.S. Federal Bureau of Investigation is seeking Apple's help to access shooter Rizwan Farouk's iPhone by disabling some of its passcode protections. Apple has pushed back, arguing that such a move will set a dangerous precedent and threaten customer security. In a copy of the brief provided by the company, Apple argued that the government's request is unprecedented and violates the company's First Amendment right.
Experts have told me is the combination, here's where I'm going to get well out of my depth, of a 5C and this particular operating system is sufficiently unusual that it's unlikely to be a trailblazer because of technology being the limiting principle. The San Bernardino litigation is not about us trying to send a message or establish some precedent. It really isn't. It's about trying to be competent in investigating something that is an active investigation. And so I don't know how lawyers and judges will think about what is the limiting principle on the legal side. I just don't know.
Taiwan's Foxconn has put its takeover of electronics maker Sharp Corporation on hold late on Thursday after discovering previously undisclosed liabilities, throwing into doubt what was set to be the biggest takeover by a foreign firm in Japan's technology sector. Loss-making Sharp announced earlier that it had agreed to be bought by Foxconn, known formerly as Honhei Precision Industry, which assembles electronics products such as smartphones and television sets for Apple, Sony, and many other major international companies. Sharp's board voted unanimously to accept the Foxconn offer over a rescue by a state-backed investment fund. However, Foxconn said in a separate statement issued just hours after Sharp's announcement, it will not sign until it had clarified terms in new material information from Sharp. Well, it's the final day of trading this week for global markets, and the days just have gone into trading in the European market. Let's talk to DWTV Channels TV correspondent Ulrich Bartz to tell us what's happening in the market today. Good afternoon, Ulrich.
Hi, good afternoon there.
Right. The proposed merger of Deutsche Börse, which operates trading in Frankfurt, and the London Stock Exchange is in the news again today. The Deutsche Börse sent a statement outlining more details. Tell us what is in store.
Well, the statement details that the headquarters of the new merged stock exchange is to be in London. Below a holding company based there are to be two operational units in Frankfurt and in London. And these units, basically, the business that both of the exchanges have conducted already, are to be continued in the same way. Now, they both, the company, the Deutsche Börse, says that it stresses that there will be growth involved here, both for the customers and also, of course, for the stock exchange companies themselves and considerable cost savings that are being aimed at. The CEO of the new company is to be Carsten Kengeter. At present, he is the CEO of the Deutsche Börse, and the chairman of the board will come from the other side, from the British side. His name is Donald Bryden. He's currently the chairman of the London Stock Exchange. Now, the people here on the Frankfurt floor, below me and behind me, I talked to quite a few of them, and they're aghast at the prospect that the headquarters, the main decision-making unit will be moved from Frankfurt here to London, and they say that sooner or later there will be influence lost, jobs lost, and that it will be bad for the financial center of Frankfurt. So it'll be interesting to see how this discussion further develops with the news that we got today.
What about the issue of a possible Brexit? How are the two exchanges dealing with that, and what is the discussion on the floor on that subject?
The two exchanges have established a committee on the Brexit, on the possible consequences of the Brexit. Now, of course, no one can know what will happen if a Brexit comes, but they will try to work out what it means for the exchanges. For example, what it means for being able to do business across the EU and British kind of border that would then probably evolve in some way. What would it mean for regulation? What would it mean for customers' locations in Britain or in the continent and overseas customers as well? I think that the most people here in Frankfurt are also critical of a merger with the possible Brexit in store. People I talked to today said that the timing was unfortunate in that way, but some people also see an opportunity in case of a Brexit. Maybe if there's a holding company in London, they say it would be more free of restrictive European regulation for trading. I heard that opinion. Whether that holds true, one has to really analyze that in detail, but there's lots of speculation going on what would happen after a Brexit.
Right, Ulrich. Well, trading before the weekend looked good, shares in Europe going up. What is driving the markets, and what are your expectations for next week?
Yeah, the major factors driving the market are the factors that made it go down in recent days as well, but it's been recovering now as the oil price has been recovering. We already reported on that just a few minutes ago. And the recovering oil prices makes people more confident about the world economy, but also, of course, about the state of the oil countries that are living from pumping oil and selling it around the world. And also a factor is the euro. The euro has gone down a bit, which makes it more attractive for exporting countries from the EU to export and to get the profits back onto their balance sheet at home. It just looks a lot better that way. I think those are the two major factors driving the market. A big focus is also the G20 finance ministers and central bank chiefs meeting in China. And people are hearing with interest lots of wording about more structural reforms needed around the world, not just here in Europe, but in all the G20 countries. That would be good, say some people here. And I think that's also helping the mood in the equities markets here in Europe.
All right, thank you very much, Ulrich. Thank you for your time, and do have a beautiful weekend. Ulrich Batz, DWTV Channels TV correspondent. Well, we'll take a quick break now, and when we return, we'll be looking at a recent report on China-Africa trade and investment as released by Exotics Partners London. Do stay with us.